Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. First off, disclaimer, sorry I look a bit meh. It's because I've been at work and I've been doing a lot of hours this week and I just can't be bothered to redo my makeup just for a video. I went for my smear test today and I think it's really important to put out a video like this because a lot of women face a lot of smear fear towards this test. They put it off for a long time. I put it off for over a year because I was just so terrified of getting it done. The thought of, you know, someone seeing my foof or the pain of it being done, I just never really had any knowledge about it and I never really looked into it because I was so scared about getting it done. I've realised that a lot of women feel this way. After talking to a lot of my friends that are coming of age right now to get this done, I've noticed that so many people put it off and it's a very common thing for people to do. I just feel like putting out a video to give my experience on it and tell you a little bit about what happened and how it went and stuff will help kind of cure any anxiety or nerves you might have towards it, because I definitely felt a lot of nerves before going myself. I did watch Zoella's video on the smear test, so I will link that in my bio because it was really informative and it definitely prepared me a little bit. Admittedly, I didn't watch all of it before I went, but even just watching the tiny snippet of her having it done really helped to cure my nerves a little bit towards it. And even though I was still anxious, everything went fine, and I just wanted to explain to you a little bit about it and yeah, just spread a little bit of word on it because I think it's an important topic that a lot of women don't really talk about, and that's why it becomes such a taboo thing that we get scared and we put it off. It's really important to go. The nurse, when I went in, she explained to me in detail about what it was all about, and she said that what it is that they're looking for HPV cells and any abnormalities that they can find inside of your cervix. And she did a little diagram for me and she showed me exactly what the cervix looks like. She described it to me like a sausage, so when you're looking at a sausage straight on and you see the end of a sausage, that's what your cervix looks like. And she explained that the ring around the sausage, there's a little tiny hole in there, and what she has to do is swab around the hole to get the cells so that she can send it off to the lab for testing. And then if anything comes back abnormal or weird, or they find anything, you'll have to go either for another smear test or you'll have to go to the hospital and get the treatment that's needed for whatever it is that they find. I never knew that it was related to HPV. I never even knew what HPV was. It's really informative that she was telling me all of this. I do recommend that when you go in, you tell your doctor that you are feeling a little bit nervous, because for me, being open with my nurse and telling her that I was anxious about it and kind of scared because it was my first time, I felt like she was so understanding and she really made sure that I understood everything, and she did everything in her power to make sure that I was comfortable. And I truly could not have asked for a better nurse to do it for me, and I'm so grateful for that. I will say that with a smear test, it's always going to be a woman doing it, so therefore they should be really understanding, really kind, and if you just let them know and be honest with them that you are nervous or anxious towards it, and you tell them exactly why, they will be accommodating to your needs. And because they're women, they understand. We have all had the smear fear. I'm sure they have had it too. She told me that she was nervous for her first one, so I feel like a lot of female nurses are the best to do it, and they are the ones that do it, so just be honest with them about how nervous you are. When you go in, I recommend that you wear a skirt. You don't really want to be stripping, it just makes you feel more naked. For me, it definitely helped to wear a skirt because I felt less naked and less vulnerable, if that makes any kind of sense. Of course, you still have to show your private area, there's no avoiding that, but if you're feeling anxious about it and you want an easy job and you don't want to fully strip in front of your doctor and you want it to feel a little bit more natural as it can feel, wear a skirt or a dress, something loose fitting where you can spread your legs and you're not going to have any uncomfortableness while the swabbing is being done. What they do is they use a plastic contraption. I'd say it was about 8 inches, I could be wrong, that's what it looked like based on experience, eh? It's plastic, it's just like a round shape around, like an oval shape around it, and they just insert it into you and then it basically comes apart. It's like this, it's round at the end like this, and there's a little squeezy thing at the top, and they insert the round bit into you, they squeeze it like this, and it stretches your vagina apart and opens you up so that they can get access to your cervix. A lot of women told me that it didn't hurt at all and it was going to be easy breezy and it's done so quickly, and I do feel like a lot more people should tell you that it can hurt as well. For me, it did hurt. It wasn't awful pain, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but for me it did hurt a little bit. So I just want to be completely transparent with you, because I feel like putting out this false notion of it's not going to hurt at all and it's just a breeze and it'll just be in and out and done. It's not the same for everybody, so it'll be a different experience for everyone. I'm not trying to scare you. It's not exactly a bad pain. It's just, it is very quick. It was over in like 20 seconds, I'd say, maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds. It really wasn't long at all, less than a minute for sure. The worst part was definitely when they put the contraption in and then stretch you out. It did hurt. It felt, I'm trying to just think of the pain. It just felt like a period cramp, like an intense period cramp. That's what it felt like for me. And it was very uncomfortable, but it wasn't to the point where I was like, oh my god, no, stop. But she did tell me no at any point. If you're in too much pain, we'll take a break and then we'll try again. Now they do use gel on the plastic thing as well to lube you up, so don't worry about that. It's not going in dry, so don't panic. It feels a bit weird afterwards, like you feel really gross, like you've just had sex or something and you need to have a shower after it's done. But honestly, it wasn't a problem for me. I just got home, had a quick wash and before work, and it was all good. Like, that was not an issue. What they do is they get a brush, and she even let me feel the tip of the brush. She was like, feel it, just see the texture of it. And I felt it and it didn't feel too bad. Felt kind of like a toothbrush in my opinion. And she was like, see, it's pretty soft, you probably won't even feel it. I didn't feel it. The brush was the easiest part of it. After the twisting was done, I couldn't really feel when she was like getting the cells out of my cervix. I didn't feel that at all. She was like, right, I'm gonna get the cells now, I'm just gonna go in, you're doing really well. She was really encouraging. She was like, you're doing fine, well done, deep breaths, because she could feel that I was anxious. I did bleed, but that's normal. I did hear that you can bleed. She didn't tell me this, but I'd learned this from Zoella's video. You can bleed if you're on the contraceptive pill, but it's also normal for anybody else to bleed, and I did bleed quite a bit, which she told me afterwards that if you bleed it can make your results inconclusive and you'll have to do it again. I think she said in a month or 3 months time or something like that, which would suck if I had to get it done again, but now that I know what I'm going into, and if I had the same nurse, I'm not going to be nervous at all. It was not a big deal. I hyped it up too much in my head and it was fine. See, I wasn't too anxious, to be honest with you, until you lay down on the bed and she said, put your legs up, put your heels together and kind of spread eagle in a way, and put your legs like this. In a yoga position is the way that she described it to me. And she said, I know it's not the most ladylike position, but you'll be fine. She made me feel really comfortable. I didn't expect to feel so comfortable having myself spread out like that in front of a stranger, but she made me feel really chill about it. I did start to have a bit of anxious shake in my legs as soon as I spread my legs open and she put the light there. She described everything she was doing to me. She was like, I'm just going to put this light here, it's not going to be in your eyes, it's just going to be here. And she described every single thing, even if it wasn't necessary, just to make me comfortable, to know exactly what was going on. And I really appreciated that, I truly did. If you want your doctor to do that, just tell them and I'm sure they'll offer to do it for you if they're nice. She did tell me, you know, breathe, I can feel your anxiety, just calm, take some deep breaths. So I took some deep breaths and she was like, you can talk to me, you can not talk to me, it's totally up to you. I couldn't personally talk to her because it's the same as when I get an injection. Whilst the pain's happening, I can't talk. But the pain only lasted for a good 10 seconds, I would say. It really wasn't long at all. Like I say, the stretching was the worst part for me, if you can even call it worst part. It really wasn't that bad. She also gave me a leaflet describing how to check your own breasts, which I need to start doing, so I've got that. It's something that they recommend that you do on your own. It's not something that a doctor will do for you, so just to check for lumps and stuff is really important. Every month, I think it is, after your period, you've got to check for lumps and check underneath and raise your arms and check and stuff. So I've had a read of that leaflet, so that was really useful information. Before you go in, obviously, needless to say, you need to make sure that you're clean. I was really worried about my hygiene down there. Not that I'm not hygienic down there, but you know what I mean. When someone's getting intimate with you, it's like before you get laid, you got to make sure you're all good. So I made sure to shave, I made sure I was all clean and washed, and I made sure it was all good down there. So just make sure you do that because you want to make it a nice, pleasant experience for them. I'm sure they've seen many vaginas, so don't worry about it. I was worried about the judgment on that, but it's like, they've seen loads, they're a professional, and they're not in their head like, ooh, this is a strange vagina. They see it all the time, it's their job. They're not going to care, and at the end of the day, you're both women, you've both got the same thing, and it's really not a big deal at the end of the day. And I think that was the main thing that scared me the most. So if you're scared about that, truly, it didn't feel weird at at all when I was actually getting it done. I was like, wow, this wasn't a big deal at all, and it was such a wave of relief when it was all done. I was like, wow, that was good. And I even said to her, I just tied myself up too much, that wasn't bad. I'm so glad I had a great experience. Just go and get it done. I know that it's scary and daunting, but look up videos about it. You can look up other videos. I'll link a couple that I watched before I went. It is nerve-wracking and it's natural to feel so, but don't put it off. It is important at the end of the day. And now the only bit that I have to kind of worry about is the results, but I'm not too worried. I think just don't worry about it. As soon as it's over, you feel this sense of relief, and I do feel proud of myself for doing it, as stupid as it is. Every woman has to do it, but I do feel proud of myself because I really thought it was something I was going to put off for years like an idiot. They do ask you a few questions before you get it done, and they ask for your consent, which is really cool. They make sure you're all good with it. They double check, you know. Just don't be shy to ask questions and stuff. I asked questions, and I really wanted to know what was going on because I was so anxious about it, and she could tell. And I just think it just talk to your doctor like a person, and it's really not awkward. I thought afterwards it might be awkward making eye contact or whatever after she's in my cooch, but it really wasn't that bad at all. Just literally just think of it as a professional doing their job at the end of the day, and yeah, you will learn a lot from it, and I can't stress the importance enough. Now, the last thing I do want to touch on is I have been feeling crampy all day and a little bit off. I don't know if that's just in my head or not, but I have been feeling a little crampy afterwards, but it's no worse than period pain. I would say don't be worried about that too much. If you can handle period pains, then you're not going to be in too much trouble. Most women don't feel pain afterwards anyway. I'm just unlucky in that way. Really don't stress about it too much. I promise you the pain is not that bad. They do put a screen up as well, by the way, so that if someone walks in the doctor's room for some kind of reason, they're not going to just be flashed by you. So you are also allowed a chaperone, she said, but I didn't request one because I felt totally comfortable with her. Personally, I felt like having a chaperone in there would make the whole situation worse and more nerve-wracking. I would much prefer it to just be me and the nurse than to have my mum there while I'm spread eagle, or another random person just stood there just for comfort. Don't worry about that. You do have options and you don't have to go alone. I did take my mum with me, but it was for another reason, just because of the location of the doctors that I went to. It was more just a thing of like emotional support, because I had no choice but to go back somewhere that I didn't want to go. But I was fine with that in the end anyway. I think I was more nervous about the smear, so that wasn't even in my head. Don't be ashamed just because, you know, in the UK you've got to be 25 to have a smear done. Don't feel like, oh, I'm such a child, I'm such a baby for having to take my mum with me. If you need emotional support for your first smear, then do it. And if you have any questions, please comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck if you do go and get your test done. It truly is fine, I promise you. You're overhyping it in your head and you will be absolutely fine, I promise you. You can like, comment and subscribe. I make new videos whenever I possibly can, and I will see you in my next one. Peace!